pro próximo webinar eu vou chamar o Brian, conhecido meu. Hello, Brian. How are you doing?
Luca, good to see you.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
Yeah,
I
it's
was
been.
listening to you and I didn't understand a thing you were saying, but I understand pregunta. So ask a question and things like that.
Perfect.
So, all right. So, Luca, this is my first time doing a webinar. So I just simply share my screen and start talking.
Yeah,
Is that okay?
Yeah, I could introduce you first.
Okay, go ahead.
If you'd like.
Yes.
So Brian, he works for Red Deer Public High Schools. He handles all the international students. I've been an international student in Red Deer. It was a wonderful experience. Brian taught me a lot, and I think you're gonna get to experience his talk, and you'll see he's a great guy. And Red Deer is this really really special place. Yeah, and that's it. He's also a great fisherman. So but let's focus on Red Deer.
Okay.
Okay.
Can you see me, or can you see my presentation?
Yeah, not the presentation yet.
No? Okay, I think I'm doing something wrong. Hang on here. Okay, share screen. Okay. All right, hang on here. How's that?
Yeah, it works.
Okay, so thank you. As Lucas said, I run a high school program in a place called Red Deer, Alberta. Red Deer is pretty well known in Canada, but around the world it's not. So I thought I would title my presentation, Why Red Deer Public? Why would you travel halfway across the world to study in our small city? So hopefully I answer those questions. And if you had any questions, feel free to ask them to me later in my booth. Or if I do have some time at the end, I certainly answer those questions. So first of all, Red Deer is very well situated in a wonderful part of the country called the province of Alberta. And it's located in between two cities of 1 million people. We're a small city of about 100,000 people. So we're an hour and a half from Edmonton and Calgary, the two major cities, and only about 2 hours away from the Rocky Mountains. We're a very safe community. Lots of things to do, and people from all over the world have come to Red Deer to live, work, and study, especially in the petrochemical industry, is where we get a lot of people. So it's become pretty cosmopolitan over the last decade or two, but it still has that small town feel. Lots of recreation to take part in, skiing in the winter, golfing in the summer. Like Lucas said, lots of fishing around us, and it's just a really, really good location, especially if you want to go see the mountains. We're only about an hour and a half, 2 hours away. So we do like to, when we want to go play, we go play in the mountains is one of the things we try to do. So Red Deer's also situated in a park-like setting. There's parks all over the city. They're all interconnected, and it's a really nice size city, especially if you're looking for a true Canadian experience. We've got lots of sports centers, cultural centers. We even have a small ski hill located outside of town. Great place to learn how to ski, and we find that a lot of our Brazilian students want to come and try to learn how to ski on our small hill before heading out into the mountains and tackling a big hill. We do have 4 distinct seasons in Red Deer, and all over Canada for that matter. Fall, summer, spring. Each season has its has its good qualities and some drawbacks. We got really hot this summer. Actually, the hottest place in North America was in the province just over beside us in British Columbia. It was 52 degrees Celsius this year, and we got close to 40 degrees in Red Deer. But we also have winter, and that's where I get most of the questions. It gets cold in Red Deer, but not always cold in the winter. These are some Brazilian students who were taking advantage of one of our warmer winter days to play hockey, and I think they just took their shirts off just for fun. But it gets cold here, but it's not always cold. That's my main message. In fact, there's all sorts of really fun things to do in the winter. And the way we survive winter is we get outside and we do things from ice fishing to hockey to skiing, skating, and just playing in the snow. We also have a world-class education system in Alberta in terms of PISA scores. Alberta ranks consistently in the top 5 of any jurisdiction in the world, and it's a public education system. So that is all the students, all the citizens of Alberta attain very high standards. We have 2 high schools in our city. One is called Lindsey Thurber Comprehensive High School. It's our largest. You can take Spanish, Japanese, or French in these schools, and there's a wide range of option classes as well. And of course, your traditional school subjects like math, science, English, history, those sort of things. And this is where I actually went to high school. I haven't gone very far in life. I've just moved down the street. So our other high school is Hunting Hills, and it has about 1,400 students. Again, you can take French and Spanish, but also Mandarin at this school. Really good school. It's located in a part of town that's growing quite a lot. And I know all the students we put there are very happy as well. One thing that we do is we invite all of our international students to participate in the graduation ceremonies as part of their cultural experience. So that's one thing we do that's a little bit different. And we also provide ESL, English as a second language support, to those who need it. Not everybody does need it, but for anybody needing a little bit of boost in their English, that becomes part of their program, and that's just their English class for the day. Lots of options. The performing arts in both high schools are very strong. Drama, traditional art, singing, guitar, um, you name it, you will find it. And we have lots of technical classes as well, from the very traditional welding and construction and automotives to more technologically advanced classes like animation and digital design and those sort of things. Um, Sports are a big part of school life in Canada, much like in the United States. Our sports are kind of divided by season. In the fall, there's volleyball and American football and cross country running, and in the winters, our basketball season and some very Canadian sports like curling and skiing and cross country skiing, and then in the spring, rugby and what we would call soccer, handball, badminton, and track and field. So kids are encouraged to get involved in sports because that's a great way to meet Canadian students and become fast friends with them. We also run our own homestay program that we're very proud of, and I think this is the key to success of our program. Nothing good happens for a student if their homestay experience isn't positive. I was an international student myself, was lucky enough to have a great homestay situation with a nice host family, and we try to make sure everybody has a very good experience this way. Um, we do lots to select the families. We visit the homes. We do background checks, police checks, child welfare checks. We continually check in with the kids to make sure things are going. I have 2 wonderful ladies that work with me that help us with that, and a full-time homestay coordinator as well. So we are always trying to improve our program, and I think this is the one area lately that we've spent the most time improving. Our host families during COVID are going way out of their way to make sure students have a good time and seeing some things, because it's not always possible to do at school anymore. One thing that we provide that not a lot of programs around us do is we a very comprehensive um, activities program. So we want to make sure that all of our international students see the basic attractions in our area. So we will take everybody skiing. We go to the mountains a couple times. We go to the big cities around us, Edmonton, Calgary. We'll teach everybody how to skate. We go camping. And students also make suggestions. Hey, I want to go to this town and see this attraction, or I want to go to that museum, or what have you. And so we are very proud of this. We spend a lot of time planning and being flexible, and we're trying to make sure that all the kids get to see the main things that not all host families have time to show them. One thing that's very important to me is our Diplomat Program. We have Canadian students who volunteer to buddy up with our international students. This is especially important on the first day of school or the first weeks of school to settle down that anxiety. It's a little daunting being the new kid to a new town and a new school and not necessarily being perfect at English. And our Canadian volunteers make sure that they have a smooth transition once they arrive to school. We're looking for all types of kids, right? There's no one kid that fits the mold for our program, but we do want kids to be flexible and open-minded and willing to try new things. And the more kids put into those sort of things, the more effort they put into our program, the more they're going to get out of it. And smiling faces are what we are always striving to achieve. Um, so to sort of summarize, right? If why choose Red Deer? We have a very diverse group of students. We get students, we're a small program who takes only 100 students. We get students from about 15 countries around the world, and we make sure that there's a limit on different language groups. We understand that parents are making a huge investment into their children, and we want to make sure that they're learning English first and foremost. We have a wide variety of programming that students can take part in inside of school and outside of school. Um, we are we have many people in the schools and in my office that can help students achieve their goals, grow as human beings, right? And really to like, we have a world-class education system in a very nice community at a very affordable price, I think would be the best way to sum us up. And I think Luca might be in that picture if I look closely enough. Maybe not. Maybe that's the next year after. So this is really my philosophy of the whole program, that we're here to help students grow and to find young adults and help out their communities and our world in general once they get home. I firmly believe that the world needs more of our cultural exchange programs that Effigy and ourselves and everybody else involved in this fair provide, and we would make a much better future for all of us the more we interconnect like this. So that is basically my presentation. Let me just get out of here for a second. There we go. And I thought I would leave some time for questions, if anybody had any. I probably rushed myself. Oh yeah, I did it. I shortened that just for today because I wanted to make sure there was questions. So, um,
Yeah,
yeah.
perfect. You nailed it.
Well,
Yeah,
thank you, Luca.
I was actually in that picture.
Were you in front of the
Yeah,
lake? I thought so.
yeah,
And which
yeah.
remind me, which high school did you go to? Lindsey Thurber
It
or
was
Hunting
Lindsey
Hills?
Thurber.
And your brother went to Hunting Hills.
Yeah,
That's
he
what I
did.
thought. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
cool.
an outstanding
Um,
education.
Thank you. So I don't mind finishing early if people don't have any questions. Um, the one thing I would just like to say is thank you for organizing this, Luca. It's I'd much rather be there in person, but this is a very well run event, and I wish I had better computer expertise to make my booth look a little bit better. But I'm really happy to be involved.
No, it looks great. But we actually have a question.
Yes.
Uh, Luigi asked if what's the he asked in Portuguese, but I'm gonna translate it.
Okay.
Uh, what's the difference? I don't know if you're gonna be able to say about Brazil, but what's the difference about the hands-on education? Like, what would you
Yeah,
say?
so like I have visited your old high school in Brazil. I would say our teachers are mastering sort of the perfect mix between traditional learning and being extra engaging for students. That's the big thing we've been talking about lately in Alberta is engagement. How can we teach you the material in a way that interests you? And then we also try to differentiate what works for Luca might not work for Brian, and we teachers are becoming more and more well versed in that differentiation and keeping it challenging enough to keep you interested. I wouldn't say it's as traditional as like memorization and just copying notes and so on and so forth. It's a little bit more experiential, and we somehow in Alberta gain these excellent worldwide results, and we get everybody through the system, rich, poor, rural, urban. It doesn't matter. Those scores are reflective of our entire system. And public education, and like 97% of our schools are public, and so we have uh, a wonderful amount of resources in our public schools to help us achieve that.
Yeah, perfect. We also have a couple more questions.
Okay.
Uh, Gabriella asked, she's curious to know about the landscape. If we get to the students get to know about the landscape of the city on the activities and about the history of it.
Yeah, so when you arrive, we do an orientation and we do a bit of a tour of the city. And the one thing that everybody gets when they're in our program is a bus pass. And our city's not very big, so it only takes about 20 minutes to go anywhere on the bus. And we'll show you around how to do the buses. History of Red Deer is not as extensive as some places around the world. We became a city in 1905, right? So just over 100 years ago. But yes, the one thing we do try teaching about is our First Nations culture, especially in the area, and like our First Canadians and the impact they have and what they're still having on our community and whatnot. So, depending on your host parent, they might teach you more than I'll teach you for sure.
And Rogério asked, he said he missed the beginning of the class,
Okay.
but he wanted to ask if the the schools in Red Deer have a more college focus or a university focus.
So that's a really good question. So both schools, or all schools in Alberta, um, have two levels of study. So if you're interested in university, there's a path that you can take that prepares you for university. But also the trades, traditional trades, are very very important to the Alberta economy. Like I think welding is one of the highest paying jobs in the province because of oil pipelines and so forth. So kids can choose their route, so to speak, either university or trade school or college or whatever. So it's kind of adaptive to whatever your motivation is, really. So we have students who become doctors, lawyers, Rhodes scholars, and we have students who become car mechanics and welders and owning their own electrical company and things like that. And everybody finds their place for sure.
Okay, awesome. I don't think we have any more questions.
Oh,
Thank you, Brian. It
all
was
right,
really, really
awesome.
great.
I'm so happy to see you again, and
Yeah, me too.
hopefully when all this garbage is over, and I think we're getting close, I'm going to be coming to Campinas and visiting your
Yeah,
office
perfect.
and you guys
To
and
do
stuff
another
again.
Brazilian barbecue, right?
That's right. I love it. Best meat
Perfect.
in the world. Okay, thank you, and
Thank you.
enjoy the fair, everybody. Thank you.